here, and this is Amanda Recovers, where we talk about the workouts, the specific moves that are going to help you to rehab, prehab, and keep running strong. Today we're talking about 5 moves to strengthen those knees. There are a lot of misconceptions about running and how it's so bad for your knees, but the truth is, science doesn't say that. Science says running actually lubricates your joints, and in fact there is no higher prevalence of arthritis in runners versus non-runners. So what's the deal? Why do so many runners have knee issues? It's not actually your knees that are the problem. It's usually stemming from, say, your hips, your calves, or other muscles. So we're gonna look at 5 specific moves that you can do to help keep your knees healthy, happy, and running strong and long. One of the best moves we can do in general is a squat, but most of us don't do it right, so I'm gonna show you how to do a banded squat and why that matters. The band right above your knees. As you go into the squat, you actually push out. So this is going to help ensure that as you're squatting down, your knees aren't falling in or they aren't moving too far out because the band is going to help them push in place. So do your squat, thinking about pushing those knees out so they're staying in line with your toes and coming back up. Oh yeah. Next, it's time to really engage those quads. So think about it. Your quads are what's right directly above your knee. And if they're weak, how is your knee gonna stay in the right plane of motion, which is forward? Once you've got your band secure, we're gonna bring it around behind the leg. It is not in the crease of your knee. It needs to be above that. With good resistance, we're gonna do what we call a march. So I'm gonna bend, and then I'm going to tighten this quad as hard as I can and bring up this leg, which forces me to sort of stop for a second and stabilize. This is slow and controlled. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Since we're already here in position, we're gonna work on these stabilizers in our hip. So again, above the knee itself, slight bend, and then you're gonna come up, and immediately you're gonna feel this glute and this hip engage, and if you don't, it's gonna pull you right over. So we're gonna stand here. We're mimicking a run, because what is a run? It is being on one foot at a time, which means your body needs to be able to balance so your hips don't shift, creating unnecessary pressure on your knees. So hold it, 30 seconds. Can you make it back to the hips? And the next thing we want to do is actually to increase our range of motion and ensure our hips are fully open. You're going to come into a tabletop position. You're going to take your right leg, drop it down as far as you can, try to get that heel up to the sky, bring it back, then you're going to let it rotate in. This, you'll probably have to move your other leg a little, come back. Do the same thing on the other side. For me, I immediately notice my left side is much tighter. It's much harder to drop down, and that's okay. That just means I know where I need to focus. And you'll notice in all of this, I'm trying to keep my hips high. So see, I just can't rotate nearly as far on this side. It's not bad. It's just something to know, and now I need to focus more on opening that left hip. The final thing we want to do is to actually make sure your calves are loose. What? This one surprises a lot of people, but think about it. If your calf muscle is tight, what it's actually doing is pulling downward on your knee. And it's super easy to have tight calves as a runner, especially if you've been doing a lot of hill work. There are some pretty basic stretches you can do up against a wall, but I like this one because it actually works 3 different heads. Yep, your calf has 3 parts, and this gets them all. So from the front, to give you a better view of what's happening here, first I'm just going straight ahead, normal calf stretch. You want to get that heel as close to the floor as you can. Then I'm switching it up, moving my calf over to the side here so that front foot moves, back foot stays planted forward. Then for the third one, I go out wide. Again, this leg remains in the same spot. There you have it. 5 moves you can do anytime that are gonna make a big difference in how your knees feel.